Hello and welcome to Unexplained Arkansas. This is Amber.
And this is Lisa. Sorry, we're going to laugh until we cry.
Yes, she's making fun of me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I'm very
Yes.
serious about the intros.
It's hilarious, but continue.
Yes. Okay, so this is our 42nd episode on the Gurdon Light. And we have some really exciting stories to tell you, our own stories that have nothing to do with the Gurdon Light, but we were in Gurdon.
We were in Gurdon, and there was a light.
There was a light, but
Somewhere.
it wasn't the Gurdon light, no.
Yeah.
But it was a weird light. I took pictures of it.
Mm-hmm.
People took offense to those pictures because they're like, that's not the Gurdon light. And I'm like, I never said it was. It was just a strange light. But anyway, it's been...
So go check them out on the Facebook.
Yeah, and also
Yes.
we have a creepy picture that we will discuss at length at the end because our friend Kip gave us some info that has to do with that weird picture we took of ourselves. So anyway, there's a ghost story behind it. But we'll
story.
Yeah, so stay tuned for the end of the podcast for the cool extra ghost story. Actually, I have two extra ghost stories at the end that are somewhat related to what we're talking about today.
Okay, and I didn't tell you, but I do have, just real quick shout outs for Patreon. So,
yeah, go ahead.
Yes, so we do have, we did have some activity, which is always fun.
Unless it's paranormal activity.
Last week, yes. And so, shout out to Todd G for joining our Patreon. So, yay,
What's
Todd.
up, Todd G?
We love you, Todd. And Todd is very active on our Instagram and socials and everything. So, he's been a supporter. And then Brandon. Yes, and then shout out to Brandon V.
And Brandon V.
Yeah, I'm not giving full names. But anyway, so thank you, Brandon, so much for supporting us on Patreon. And then a Colton F. So thank you to Colton.
Thank you, Colton.
So if you wish to be a part of our Patreon, you get access to extra episodes, the Scary Heifers movie reviews. And there's 2 out already, and there's more to come. So just join the Patreon, people.
Oh, and you know what else? You said yesterday they get access to? Me without makeup.
Oh, yeah.
Me doing
Amber
videos
without
makeup. Yeah.
If you want extra episodes and Amber's pretty little face, there you go.
Makeup free. Yeah. Well, it's summertime. I don't wear makeup every day. So, but and we've added.
Today.
Yeah. I'm not either, but we've added extra stuff from some of our little adventures. I think it's really cool. I'm beginning to think of our Patreon crew as like an extended family, and I'm really excited because we are going to have our first book club discussion next week, and that'll be cool. So we'll have more info on that.
We're going to do a Zoom with them. So
we're going to do a Zoom. Yes. Yes, and we haven't done that before. And then, of course, we have our first Q&A coming up in a couple of weeks, too, which we will schedule that. But that's only for Patreon people. So we are your Patreon besties if you join that. So there you go.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, well, that was good. That's a lot of fun information. And so we will go on to our escapades the last couple of days. It's been interesting. It's been an interesting couple of days. I think Lisa's about ready to kill me because I've just I don't know. I've just been back and forth about this whole Gurdon Light thing because I want it to be really good because there's just so much written about it. And I don't have that much new information, but I do have some that I think is relatively interesting. And I feel like I put all the information that's out there together in one nice little package. And there are still some questions that I do have remaining that nobody has answered yet. So we'll just kind of start there. Yes. Now, this is kind of like we're coming back from like a break because we've kind of had a week off, and Lisa went to the beach and fought sharks. So this is like not really. Yeah. If you're watching or if you're listening to this like in real time, we're having all those shark issues right now in Florida, and so Lisa went to the spot where the sharks were.
Yes, we were right beside Watercolor. Yes. So we were very cautious, and they were being, I will say, the Florida people, the Walton County people, there were copters and planes like really flying like all the time. Copter, like helicopters.
Oh,
copter.
Is copter short for helicopters? I guess it is. I don't
believe
know.
So.
Sounds very 80s. I don't know.
Somebody will tell us about it. Epitome. There you go.
Epitome.
Epitome. I know the word epitome, but
anyway. I am not a tattoo person, but I'm seriously thinking about getting a tattoo. And
it says epitome.
Well, no, that's on my list now. I have a list of things I might get on my tattoo, and epitome is now on there. Which, if you don't know what we mean by epitome, you want to explain?
It's the Sandra Williams episode. I said the word epitome twice in the Sandra Williams episode. I don't remember which number that is, but yes. And so I was just, we go by script. So I was so involved in not saying because it drives us both crazy, but we don't want to edit.
And we both do it.
Yes.
So
yes. And everybody does it. If you watch anything, if you pay attention to that, yes. But anywho, so
Lisa goes by a script now.
I do go by a script because that helps me not to say every 2 words. But anyway.
But she said epitome.
I said epitome
instead of epitome. Not once. Yes. But how many times did you say it?
Oh, twice.
Okay, so now epitome is my favorite made up word ever because I just can't. Like, I woke up at like 3 a.m. the other day and just busted out laughing about Lisa and epitome. I didn't tell you that, but I was just that like made my year. Epitome.
Oh, Daryl laughed too. Daryl was like, you said epitome.
But one of our listeners caught it and they put it on Facebook.
Oh, another listener posted about it on Apple review. Just like, I just love the podcast, and you guys need to figure out how to say epitome.
Isn't that the one that oh yeah, she titled it Epitome, or
she did. She did, and it was funny.
Okay,
I can appreciate it and laugh.
Okay,
what we do.
I think it's beautiful. I love it. That was like my favorite thing ever. Okay, so let's go on to the Gurdon Light, and I will probably mispronounce several things during this. So, y'all go ahead and tell us because we're okay with that. We like it. It's funny.
It's funny.
But remember, we do love our state, and we do really try to pronounce things correctly. But come on, Arkansas has some weird names. I mean, it really does, and so sometimes we're a little off. So I'm pretty much
County.
Deshay, yeah, Deshay. Okay, Deshay County, yeah. So today we're talking about Gurdon, and I'm 99.99% sure it's pronounced Gurdon because I've watched enough videos the last, couple weeks, or actually longer than that.
Yeah. At least that's what they pronounced it on the Unsolved Mysteries clip. So
yeah. Well, if we're wrong, let us know. But Gurdon is in Clark County. The population as of 2022 is 1,837. So that's
in Gurdon or in
Gurdon.
County?
In Gurdon. Gotcha. Sorry, in Gurdon. And we found this out Sunday night when we were out traipsing around in Gurdon, that the high school mascot is the Go Devils. Not just the Devils, it's the Go Devils. Yeah. So Go Devils. So like when they're cheering, do they say Go Devils or what? Because it's Go.
I don't know.
It's Go Devils. That's the whole name. So yeah. Mm-hmm. Wow, look it up. Crazy. It's pretty interesting.
That is very interesting.
I like it. All right. So they're kind of devilly down there in central South Arkansas. I mean, we were like just there last week over Hell's Half Acre. No.
Yeah. And hell and devil are very prominent features of our state.
We don't know in that part of the state.
And I don't know. And then there's the Devil's Den in the northeast or northwest part of the state.
Oh, that's right. There is the Devil's Den. So
I think it's just a fun way to word things.
Yeah, just stick devil on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Devil's Fork. There's a lot in there.
You're right.
Yes.
Okay, we could just go through the list. All right, so Gurdon is about 15 miles away from Arkadelphia, which we also went through there the other day.
We did.
And then it's 85 miles away from Little Rock. And the funny story about that is, okay, so I've got to tell on you and me. We made a little trip Sunday. We left about 6 o'clock, and from Searcy to Gurdon, it was, a couple of hours. Well, we told our husbands that we were just, going to take a little trip.
No, I told him I told my husband we were going to Gurdon. I don't know what you told Scott.
I told him we were just going outside of Little Rock, but I had thought I had said earlier that I was taking you to Gurdon, but he wasn't paying attention.
In fact, you said, I'm taking that heifer to Gurdon.
That is a true statement. I said, I'm taking that heifer to Gurdon, and he didn't hear me. And so he thought we were just going outside of Little Rock. So he was shocked.
He was surprised.
Well, I don't know. Maybe not. I don't know. He knows we're always up to something. But
he probably wasn't too shocked. He was like, because Daryl was like, do you know how far away Gurdon is?
Yeah.
I was like, I looked it up on a map. Yes.
Yeah. So we made the trek, and we had to do it at night because you can only see the Gurdon Light at night.
Yeah.
So we made our way to Gurdon on Sunday with our teenagers. And, if you
Talk about heifers.
If you are new to our podcast, Lisa and I both have a 16-year-old, and mine is a boy named Bo, and hers is a girl named Elle. And so we went all the way down here with down to Gurdon with our teenagers, and I can't believe they willingly went. They must have been very, very bored to go because they've never done anything like this with us before. So it was
They don't even
interesting.
listen.
Yeah, they don't. Podcast. Nobody their age listens to us, and that's okay.
Oh, that's not true. But
really, we have have somebody that age.
Yes. Yes. Shout out to the teens that listen, but we do have a few.
Oh,
I
cool.
will say, because
when
I
be
subbed,
old
they were
souls.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Okay. So we did go to Gurdon to look for this light. So just starting out, I want everyone to know that. So
we're devoted.
We are devoted, yes. So what the Gurdon Light is, it's just basically a floating light situation near some old railroad tracks in Gurdon. And it was first sighted in the 1930s. But from my research, I've actually read where some people claim that Native Americans also have stories of a floating light in the area, but we'll get into that later. Now, there are many theories and stories that explain this light, including one that connects a murder, and we'll talk about the murder. And then this legend has done nothing but grow in the last 100 years. I mean, grow. And it is probably one of the most famous and one of the most favorite legends, ghost stories in the state of Arkansas. There are probably very few that have never heard of the Gurdon Light. So yeah, it's had a lot of traction.
Yeah,
it was. Oh, go ahead.
It's a thing.
It's a thing. They should make T-shirts. It's a thing.
Yeah, even on the internet, when you Google it, says the Gurdon Light Experience.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
I'd like to go back during the day and talk to, some people that are historically minded in Gurdon and see if we can, kind of get their take on the situation. Now, NBC even heard about the Gurdon Light. They used to run a program called Unsolved Mysteries. And
with our favorite man,
with Robert Stack. Now, Robert Stack used to be an actor who then turned TV host. And Unsolved Mysteries ran for a really long time. And if you were an 80s and 90s kid, then you are very familiar with Unsolved Mysteries. And the theme song, oh my gosh. There's lots of memes about it. And people always talk about how they would wake up in the middle of the night and hear the Unsolved Mysteries theme song. That's a thing. That's true.
It is.
They used to play them on Lifetime all the time, and I would go to bed watching Golden Girls, and then I'd wake up having these weird dreams that were based on things that I was hearing on Unsolved Mysteries. Yeah, that was going on in the background on my TV. Also, I'd wake up to the theme song. So, yeah, it's pretty scary. So when I hear that theme song,
it's eerie.
Yeah, when I hear that theme song, I get really kind of weirded out. Okay, but Arkansas has been on Unsolved Mysteries several times, and I'm working on a list of the times it has been showcased on the show. So I'll have that out too on Facebook. All right, so we know that you can't see the light from Highway 30. So Lisa and I decided to try to find it. Do you want to kind of talk about our little journey?
Well, so you had dropped me a pin for like, it was an actual address. And
yeah,
so
that's what the internet said.
Yes, I think the Gurdon Light experience, like if you drop that pin, like it tries to take you to a house.
Right.
Well, that house is like, I mean, it's a private road. So, and it was very difficult to find. And Amber was driving. And
we had our kids with us. So we weren't going to be too adventurous. We erred on the side of caution because we had our kids.
Definitely. Although we'll get to what happened. But anyway, and you can go back and watch the live and find out exactly what happened. But so we kind of missed it, and then we were like, okay, this is a driveway. So then Amber had the good idea to go into Gurdon town, and then before that happened, I think we found a different spot that looked like a railway.
Yeah.
And it was very eerie, and it was I don't know what was near it, maybe like a water department or something. Bo said it sounded like a train was coming in.
The tracks were old and they weren't used anymore.
No.
But it said private property too, so we didn't go any further. But those tracks were not in use. So my theory is those were the tracks. If we would have followed those tracks, it probably would have led us to the spot of the Gurdon Light.
Yes.
But it was nighttime. We didn't see anything. And it was kind of...
it was loud. It was weird. Evidently, it was really like a real train situation or something. It sounded like a train was nearby. And I don't, again, we don't know exactly what that was. Maybe like the water, department place or whatever it was. But it was very loud. So
those old tracks were very eerie. And they were not being used. It was not an active train track. So my theory is if we had kept going, it would have gotten into the parts where the train tracks had been taken apart. And that's where you find the Gurdon Light. The Gurdon Light is actually not, I mean, the train tracks aren't there anymore. It's just, they removed them. But that probably would have gotten us there. But like I said, we had our kids, so we weren't going to do anything dangerous or illegal or anything like that. So
no. But if they weren't there, we definitely would. No, I'm just
okay, so the fame of this ghost story, like I said, just grew and grew over, the 20th century. Like I said, I heard about it my entire life. I'm sure you did as well, right? And
heard it, yes.
Yes. And there's lots written about it. And probably some of the things I'm going to tell you, it's not new information, but it's still very interesting. Now, the first thing, I read an article by Trip Savvy that will tell you exactly how to get there. And it's about a 2.5-mile hike, they say, to the place where you can view the light. And just think about doing that in the dark. They say you'll pass 2 trestles before you see it, and there is a spot that can be found if you look for a slight incline. And, it looks like a place where railroad tracks used to be. And they say you are guaranteed to see the light in that spot. And according to Trip Savvy, the light is eerie, white, blue light, and sometimes it can be orangish, which is what I also heard, on the several, I'm sorry, I watched on the videos. There are several videos that we'll talk about. And some of them say white, blue light. Some of them say orange. Some of them say red. Basically, every color you can think of, that's the light they say this orb or whatever is. Okay, so the light supposedly sways back and forth. And, people have reported seeing that happen, the light swaying back and forth. And it's frequently seen on the darkest nights, and it's best seen when it is cloudy and overcast. So now there's a cool video that I'll link called Once Upon a Time in Arkansas. It's a actually, Once Upon a Time in Arkansas is a show from PBS, and there's a specific episode on the Gurdon Light, and it said, and I thought this was very true, that the Gurdon Light has grown bigger than the town itself. So much has been written about it. So let's start with what exactly the light is. Now, I didn't know this, but there are several Arkansans that are basically considered experts on the Gurdon Light. Did you know that?
No,
I am not one of those
people.
No, I am not one of those people. I'm just reporting here. One of the experts on the Gurdon Light is a historian with the state of Arkansas named Wendy Bradley Richter, Wendy Bradley Richter, and she's widely known as being a Gurdon Light expert, and she's written lots of things about it. Now, according to Richter, it's a light you can see along the path of this old railroad track north of Gurdon. Technically, the light is 4 miles north of Gurdon and close to Highway 30. So that's going to be very important. The relevance of its location to Highway 30. Now, witnesses claim that the glow, like I said, sways back and forth like somebody walking with a lantern or something like that. Now, this is what I didn't realize until I started doing the research. The light is only 3 feet off the ground. Now, did you know that, or did you think it was higher?
Yes.
Yeah, no.
I thought it was based on what I had looked at, it was just like hovering above the tracks.
Yeah. Yes. So, of course, the big theory that everybody thinks is it might be headlights from Interstate 30. However, that's been debunked several times because they started reporting this light in around 1932, and there was no highway then.
Highway 30.
Yeah. So that debunks that theory.
Unless it's like a black hole situation to the future. Oh, never mind.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Keep going.
All right. So the big story, the big one we wanted to talk about today is the ghost story that kind of goes with it. We'll talk about the swamp gas theory. We'll talk about the quartz crystal theory. We'll talk about all that. But what people probably are listening to the show to learn about is the ghost story or the murder that happened at about, the time this light started appearing. Now, again, this is from a paper written by Dr. Richter, and she took a lot of what was in her paper from the Southern Standard newspaper, which was a newspaper in the area. So, apparently, the light started being seen after the death of a man named Will McLean. And this really happened. And it's well documented in Arkansas newspapers, the Encyclopedia of Arkansas. I even looked up, there's like with Encyclopedia of Arkansas, there's a page you can look at all the executions from way back in the 1800s. And I even found the murderer's execution date, the whole 9 yards. So this is very well documented. So it was a murder, and an alleged murder, and the death happened on December 10th, 1931. So almost 100 years ago. Not quite. And Will McLean was the victim, and he was a foreman of the Norman branch of the Missouri Pacific Railroad, which ran 4 miles north of Gurdon. And Will was a section foreman, and he was basically in charge of making sure everything ran smoothly in that area. Well, apparently he got into an argument with another man, and his name was Lewis McBride, and he was a member of the crew that McLean had, that he oversaw, and they got into an argument, and there's been varying reasons why the argument happened. I've heard that it's because he wanted more hours. McLean wasn't going to give him, McBride wanted more hours, but McLean wasn't going to give him more hours. But what has been talked about the most, what has been written about the most is the story that McLean accused McBride of sabotaging a section of the railroad, and it caused an accident with a very fast-moving train. So there you go. So there was no eyewitness to the murder itself, but they did have a trial, and according to, let me just kind of read what the newspaper said. There was no eyewitnesses to the tragedy, but the man after the murder came into Gurdon before quitting time and acted very suspicious. He was then arrested, and when McLean did not go home that night, the sheriff's office was notified. There was a search party, and they basically questioned McBride about the disappearance, and after the questioning, McBride finally confessed to the murder and told them where the body could be found, as well as what the murder weapon was, which was a spike maul. And yes, you can Google that. And
did he just hit him with
several times? Like the autopsy, they did talk about the autopsy in this article, and the autopsy said that there were 4 blows that could have killed him. So yeah. So in relating the details of the crime, McBride said that while working with McLean, he became enraged, angered, and struck him over the head with the spike maul, and that McLean ran, and then McBride chased him and then hit him again until he finally struck him down and beat him to death over the head.
Good
so
grief.
It was when the scene was investigated by the officers, they did see the evidence of the struggle. So the murder scene in itself was not it was a big murder scene because he ran. McLean ran for his life. And I think, from what I've read, the murder scene was about a quarter of a mile long because he got hit and then took off running and kept running. And so that's scary.
That is, he was a fighter.
Yeah. So the first blow happened about a quarter of a mile away from where the actual fatal blow happened, and he died. Yeah.
Now, was this on the train tracks? Did they stay?
He ran at one point. He ran from the tracks and was found in an area outside the tracks. Yes,
off the tracks.
Yes.
Gotcha.
It would be reported though that there was a trail of blood that led to him. So. That's awful.
That is awful.
So, like I said, according to the newspaper, the reason for the attack was that McBride became angry with McLean because McLean accused him of causing an accident. Now, there was another member of that same crew named George Brewer who was also arrested. He ended up being a relative or uncle of the suspect.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
And then shortly after McLean died, they had an inquest, a coroner's inquest, and the coroner there, his name was Alva Harris, and also the autopsy was attended by J.H. Lookadoo of Arkadelphia. Lookadoo. I don't want that last name. He was a deputy prosecuting attorney. Lookadoo. Okay, sorry. And then the sheriff. Now, the autopsy, like I said, it proved that McLean was murdered without a shadow of a doubt. And that's what is on his death certificate that I now have a copy of. And it just, and I'm not laughing about the death certificate at all.
Yeah.
But in the area where it says, manner of death, it says killed. K-I-L-L-E-D. It said killed. And I'm like, seriously?
Wow.
Yeah.
That's how they did it in the 1930s.
So. I guess it just saved time.
Killed.
All right. So he had 4 severe blows to the head. And according to, like I said, Dr. Richter, who is the expert on all this, according to what she has uncovered, it was always said that the lantern never left his hand during that whole thing.
Ooh. Spooky.
Yeah. Spooky city.
That's the story.
Yes. So that, the lantern never leaving this poor dude's hand sets the story. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so as far as Lewis McBride, I did look him up. I couldn't find his grave, but I did find where he was executed. He was found guilty, of course, in 32 or 30. Yeah, I guess it was 32. But he was set for execution in the electric chair. Now, yes.
Wow.
I don't know if he was actually executed by electric chair. It doesn't say that. It just says, it just gives his date of execution. I'm sure
What was that?
His date of execution, July 8th, 1932.
What? So so he was tried and then executed all within
there's
that
a lot.
of time?
So, and here's the other thing. I was going to talk to you about this I was going to talk to you about this off camera, off podcast, whatever, but I would love to do a whole series of stories on executions that have happened in Arkansas, because when I was looking up his execution date, I saw so many that were from the 1800s and early 1900s, and I want to go through them one by one and look at some of these cases. But like you said, it was very interesting that this happened on December 10th, 1931, and then he was executed by July of 1932.
So probably didn't care about the appeals and all that at that time.
Yeah.
It was just like, oh, you're guilty, you're done.
Yeah.
So, wow. That's wild.
Yeah.
It's wild to think about.
Yeah. So, if you look for his execution entry online, it is Louis McBride, and McBride is even spelled incorrectly, McBryde, and it says that he was executed for murder. He was from Clark County, and that the date of the execution was July 8th, 1932. Yep. So here's the interesting part. The very first sighting of this light happened in 1932. That's the first reported sight. Yeah. So it's been theorized that the light that you see is the lantern that McLean was still holding on to, and it's haunting the tracks. And there you go. So now,
so that's the lore.
That's that's one part. There's several.
One part.
Yeah. NBC, like I said, aired a segment about the Gurdon Light on its Unsolved Mysteries series in 1994. And what's so interesting about that, if you've never seen it, well, number one, what's interesting is, it's so
90s.
Early 90s, like everything about it. But
it's wonderful. The hair,
I love
the
it.
hairdos, everything.
I love that whole show. In fact, I want to just binge watch that show this summer. That'd be so much fun. We should do a podcast just on old unsolved mysteries, which I'm sure there's one out there. Okay, so Dr. Charles Lemming of Henderson State University was a guest on the program, and I kind of looked him up. Now, he has since passed away, bless his heart, but he was another authority on the light. He seemed like a super cool guy because he would actually take his students to the light area every year, and he investigated it, probably for a large part of his career. Now, this legend in Gurdon has become so popular that people travel from all over the place to come and try to find it. So, that's why I was kind of on the fence about whether we should try to hike to it or not, because people do it all the time. Now, the private land, the private signs, that always scares me off because I do not want to trespass. I just wish there was somebody out there that, knew the owner of the land now that would take us out there. I would love to go out there. So if you're listening out there in unexplained Arkansas land, take us. We want to go.
Take us.
Yeah.
Email us.
Yes.
We'll set up a time.
Yeah. Well, apparently they let Unsolved Mysteries out there because they, this program aired December 16th, 1994. And, they not only documented the phenomenon of the light, but they also described the legend with the railroad man. Now, it's a classic episode, like I said, and it was the lead story for that episode, which, unless you were an Unsolved Mystery fan, you probably don't understand that if you're the lead episode, that's like being on the top fold of the newspaper. Like, that's,
that's legit.
It's legit. So, There were several other stories on that episode. There was one called A Prisoner Named Stuart. There was one called The Life-Saving Sister, and then Thelma and Louise Bandits. That was all. I don't know what that means. But those were all on season 7, episode 9. But the Gurdon Light led the pack. So, yeah. Now, so there.
Yay, Arkansas.
Yay, Arkansas. Unsolved Mysteries also claim that they have the first recorded image of the light. And whether that's true or not, I don't have anything to debunk that. One of their photographers captured the image during the evening hours, and then came back like the very next night and recorded it with video. And I've seen both of these things, and they look red to me. But I did notice the swinging. Yeah, I did notice the swinging.
It's pretty cool. I mean, it's just, go watch it. And you linked it, right?
I linked it.
It's on our page. Yeah.
Okay.
So go watch it.
So other guests for that episode included physicist Michael Klingon, Mary Burns, and Joel Stifler. So I don't know where they all are at these days, if they still live in the area or whatever, but they will forever be part of this unsolved mystery lore. Okay.
Yeah.
So Unsolved Mystery said that McLean accused McBride, of sabotaging a section of the track, causing the freight train accident. And this was a big deal. And they then went on to talk about the first sightings. And like I said, the sightings started in the 30s, but they were very specific about what happened. So apparently in the 30s, there was a train conductor in the same area who stepped outside onto the caboose platform and saw light behind the train. And it scared the crap out of him. And this is according to Russell Butler. And he was, again, interviewed on Unsolved Mysteries. And he said that the train conductor kind of followed the light and it scared him. It froze him. And the light kept on and it followed the train for about a mile and then veered off into a local cemetery. So there you go. Yeah.
There's nothing better than that stuff.
Oh, yeah. I mean, seriously. I mean,
Yes.
the light followed the train for a mile and then veered off into a cemetery. Now, the Unsolved Mystery witnesses said the whole town basically has seen it at one time or another. Now, do you believe that?
I mean, I believe that they saw a light just like we did.
Yeah.
But perhaps they didn't see, exactly what the Gurdon Light is, or, whatever.
Well, the locals that were interviewed, one of them said that it was really common to see the light coming from one direction and then see it again from behind them. Yeah.
Yes.
So,
and didn't they say there was like over 600 sightings of the light?
Yeah, I mean, there's
reported
been,
or something.
There's been a ton, but think about how many.
It's not a shy light. Let's put it that way.
But think about how many reported UFO sightings Arkansas has. I had no idea we had that many UFO sightings until we did that story. I mean, people are like, oh, there's a light. Let's report it as the Gurdon Light. Okay, so Henderson professor Dr. Lemming came back onto that program and talked about his science class that would regularly visit the site and try to figure out what was going on. Now, he came to it from a scientific point of view, even though for years there have been dozens of reporters, scientists, paranormal enthusiasts who have gone to Gurdon to try to figure out this puzzle. In fact, I was watching a couple of videos just this morning that are recent. One was like within the last year, and somebody got out there and basically he said the same thing Unsolved Mystery said, and I don't think he found it. But, people are, actively searching for this light and trying to, figure out what is causing it. But anyway, so Lemming, like I said, has since passed away, but he spent so much time working on his theories, and he tried to debunk theories that other people had. Like one theory is swamp gas, and I guess he probably looked into that theory as well. But according to KTV, that theory has been around for a long time, but if it was swamp gas, it would register an electric charge. So and I'm not sure if this is Lemming's group or a different group, when they took a galvanometer and other equipment out there, it didn't register. There was no register of an electric charge. So then it could not have been the swamp gas. And then I also heard, or on one of the videos, somebody say, well, the wind, you still see it on a windy day, so it couldn't be swamp gas. Now, a very popular theory is and I'm probably going to say this wrong, so scientists correct me, but the piezoelectric effect. And the piezoelectric effect basically is the ability of certain materials to generate an electric charge in response to applied mechanical stress. The word piezoelectric is derived from the Greek piezion, which means to squeeze or press. And so basically you squeeze these crystals, which is what they think might happen, and you get a current out of them. Now, where is Gurdon? It's right next to the what? Washita Mountains. Well, yeah, that plays a part of this too. But it's next to the
New Madrid Fault line.
Yes, but it's next to the Washita Mountains, which we figured out last week when we talked about Hell's Half Acre, that there is a lot
Hell's Butthole.
The Devil's Butthole. That there is a lot of chert. There's a lot of crystalline rocks there. So yeah, that's definitely a thing. So piezoelectricity is the property that certain crystals have to become electrically polarized when submitted to pressure or vice versa. So in other words, it generates energy. So some people have theorized that because, like you said, the New Madrid Fault runs through this area, it puts that pressure on the crystals, squeezes those little things, and it develops a spark, basically.
Now, I would think that too, just like swamp gases, would register.
Yes, I would think so too.
If you're talking about energy. So.
Yes, but that was one of the, I think that was probably one of the theories that Lemming and his group looked at as well. Also, I think there was other professors that did look at that. Now, those are the scientific things that go along with this. There are other outliers, other theories with Gurdon Light. One is a similar story to the McLean story. And according to this legend, a train worker, and they don't name the train worker, fell into the path of an oncoming train, and the guy lost his head. They never found the head. And local people say the light is actually the light from his lantern while he walks around trying to find his head.
Oh, well, that's a cute story, too.
Yeah, that's a bummer, man.
Lots of headless stories in history.
I'm glad you said that, Lise, because that's where I'm going.
Are you telling yours?
Yes. So, okay, so I will tell you this, what I've learned, and I did read this somewhere, I don't remember where, but during the railroad boom, during this time period where railroads were everywhere, it was very common for people to die. It was very common for railroad workers to lose their arms, to lose their, whatever, I guess, lose their heads. So this was a common thing. Now, there is a similar story about my husband's great-great-grandfather. True.
Oh, goodness.
No, it is true. My husband's great-great-grandfather lost his head in a similar accident. And I found this story just kind of just roaming around, looking through Ancestry. And I tried to find some more information about it. I knew it existed from a long time ago, but here recently I tried to look it up again. So I got our friend Kip to help me look for the newspaper clippings. He didn't find it, so I asked a cousin of mine to help, and she just found it actually just a few days ago, and I'm going to put it on the Facebook because I'm going to continue to look into this legend because it's really cool. Well, not cool in a bad way, not a good way.
Yeah.
All right. So, Okay, so to my knowledge, there is no ghost stories associated with Bramlett's death, but in the Gazette, which is the Marked Tree, Arkansas paper, there is an article about how old man Bramlett was killed, and he was ran over by a Frisco train, and they never found his head.
Oh.
Yes. So
Goodness.
yes. And
so poor. They
my
made fun of his age.
to
Old man
Scott for
Bramlett.
his great grandfather.
Yes.
But this is how they refer to him in the newspaper as Old Man Bramlett.
I mean, how old was he? Does it say how old he was?
Well, yeah, no, it doesn't tell in there. But I think I found him in Ancestry. But like I said, I'm going to do a whole story.
Okay, about this.
Yeah.
Oh goodness.
Now, apparently his name was David Bramlett, and the story goes that he was really not beheaded by a train, but by people. Yeah.
Oh, people.
Yes. So that's why I'm doing a whole story on this, because I don't know all.
That's worse.
Yes, that's worse. So I don't know all the specifics on this, but according to one story, he won a poker game and won big, and then he was killed.
Had to pay the piper.
I guess so.
With his head.
So they put his body on the tracks, and I guess I don't know what happened to the head. I'm not that far in my research. So
well, this is a note to maybe
people in
not.
this happened in Truman. Did I even say that?
Truman.
This happened in Truman.
No.
Yeah, this was up in Truman. Yep. Yeah. So that is
before Scott's people made their way to Stuttgart.
Yes. I'm not laughing about the headless man, I promise. I'm just laughing about the fact that this is my family that this craziness happened to. Of course it was. Of course it was.
Of course.
Yeah. But we don't really know that much about it, and I just have the one article to go by. But this is something I'm going to be working on for a later episode. So there you go. Yeah. The headless Bramlett. From Truman.
The headless Bramlett.
Yes, from Truman.
Possibly a train, possibly people.
It was possibly a train, possibly murder. Who knows?
To be determined.
Yes. Okay. So basically, what I have found about back to Gurdon, what I found about the light are the same things, the same stories that have been floating around for decades. And you and I decided we'd go down there and see for ourselves and kind of observe the town and things going on. And, we did, like I said, go to where Google said to go, but we didn't, we didn't find it. However, we did find something even crazier. And we have a photo that we put on Facebook that, I think freaked me out more than Lisa. And do you want to kind of tell the story around the photo?
Well, you were taking several pictures.
Yeah, I always
there
do.
were several pictures.
I just click just to see what what I'll come up with. And we had just before that picture was taken, we were where were we? Which spot were we at?
We were in the car.
Yeah.
Well, I think that was when we were at the final spot where you took the other pictures. That was the final spot. We were taking pictures there.
Okay.
That was where it kind of, I can't remember the road. We went into Gurdon town. We followed the train tracks to where we could actually cross them. And then we found a place to park. So.
Oh, no, that photo, I'm looking back at it. I think it was at the old abandoned tracks.
I don't know.
Yeah, we'll go back and look for sure. But anyway, it was,
I'm not for
it was
certain.
by that tree.
But it was in the car.
It was in the car. Yes, it was in the car.
Yeah,
by tracks.
It was in the car. And you didn't actually look at the pictures at all until later.
Yes.
So you didn't see this until later, but it totally warped our face. It totally looked like I had blood on my face. You had dirt on your face. There was a ghostly man face floating in your lap. I mean, it It's a freaky picture.
It looked like John Belushi was sitting in my lap
as the Slimer,
yes.
as the
yes.
Ghostbuster. But yeah, it didn't really freak me out because I was like, well, I said a prayer and I'm good. We didn't invite it in, but evidently you can say what everybody so you decided to post it on the Facebook, and a lot of people had opinions and thoughts on what it was.
Yes. So. Okay, so one of our favorite people, his name is Kip, and he actually has his own. He has a similar site to ours, and I'll give a shout out to it. And what is his site? It's Morton. I have to always look it up because it's so long. But I'm like
it is.
Yeah, I'm gonna make sure Morton
and
Otwell Gurdon. Yes, and that's Kip's site.
Yes.
And he's got a lot of
check that out.
Yes, Morton Otwell Gurdon, and he's also got a lot of books and stuff on Amazon that you can download. So, but he was the one trying to help me figure out Scott's great grandfather's story. But anyway, so he was the first person I contacted after I saw this crazy photo, and he was like, well, let me see what I can find out. Well, he came back like within an hour with this story from the area, and listen to this. It says remains carried to Blevins for interment. So the remains of J.L. Stroop, age 89, killed at Gurdon by explosion of dynamite. Okay, so the remains of J.L. Stroop, who died at his home in Gurdon Friday morning at 5 o'clock from injuries received Thursday, were carried through Prescott this morning over the Prescott and Northwestern Railroad to Blevins, where they were interred this afternoon. So here's what happened to Mr. Stroop. Thursday morning, Mr. Stroop was using dynamite, subsoiling in his garden, and was placing a half a stick of dynamite in the ground when it exploded. His right hand was completely torn off, and his face was badly mutilated, both eyes probably being destroyed. It is stated that after the explosion, the injured one started to his home. So I guess he didn't die like right then. So yikes. So
I mean, this is extreme gardening.
I mean, I don't know if he was trying to get rid of gophers or what.
I don't know.
So what Kip, I think, was alluding to was the fact that we may have ran into Mr. Stroop, and he tried to catch a ride back to Searcy.
Yeah, and several people on that post said we had a hitchhiker with us.
Yes,
so,
and we had to kind of look up what that meant, because we're new to some of this. We don't know all the terminologies, but a hitchhiker is basically
we are not
what. Go ahead.
Paranormal. Oh, I was just saying we are not paranormal. Professionals.
No, we're not. So, some people thought we
just know about heifers.
We do. We just like to talk about unexplained Arkansas stuff. Our business is Arkansas. So this whole hitchhiker thing kind of scared the crap out of me. And Lisa's like, it was just your camera or your phone, blah, 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 which several people on Facebook said that too. But it looks like I have a bunch of dirt on my face, and it looks like you have blood on your face, which could be a gopher dynamite explosion.
It could be.
It could be. Yeah. And then
we never know.
Yeah.
A time will tell, I'm sure.
Yeah. But the picture, whatever the picture, it's creepy.
It's interesting.
And I found it at
because the other pictures came out normal. That was the only one that came out abnormal. So.
Yes. But what, and I'm going to ask Kip what the exact address of this man was, because I know he could probably find it. But if it's where we were, then I'm really going to be freaked out. But then again,
his garden.
According to this article, his remains were taken by train. So there you go. So, did we run into a hitchhiker ghost? I don't know. Possibly. Maybe. I don't know. Or was it just crappy camera work? I don't know.
We don't know. It's unexplained.
So we ended up getting an unexplained picture while we were researching something completely different.
Yes.
It's
the Gurdon.
Yeah, it's
Light.
a cool picture to look at, whether you believe it's paranormal or not. Lisa looks like she stuck her face in like a cherry pie or something. It does.
Yes.
It does.
It does.
So,
and you look like you're holding a ghost baby.
I know
with dirt on your face.
Yeah, that's exactly what it looks like.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's our adventure in Gurdon. We didn't get home till really late, and
and I had traveled. You were amazed that I even wanted to go because we had traveled home the day before, but you said you were doing the Gurdon Light. I'm like, we have to go.
Yeah, and you're right. I mean, we really did. If we're going to do something like that, we have to go there. We're planning on another trip tomorrow, which we'll tell you more about later.
Yes.
So
we're going to J-Town.
Yeah, Jonesboro. Yes.
The layman, Jonesboro.
Yes.
We're doing another haunting, so we will see if we pick anything up.
Yeah, we're just all about some hauntings at the moment. I don't know. It seems like we were doing nothing but true crime for a while. Now it seems like we're on some kind of haunting kick.
Haunted.
Yeah. But like I said, this may not be new information about the Gurdon Light, but I still think it's really interesting. And I think it's interesting that this legend has just grown as time's gone by. Yeah.
Well, and I think it's interesting that there's been so many people do research, like real scientific research on it, and they still cannot explain it. So I think that that's awesome, and that it's right here in Arkansas. So you people, like we said, please connect with us if you have an in to this whole Gurdon Light. And like we said, it's not very shy. It likes to come out and play. So let's just see if we can get an invite to its playground.
Yeah, we just want to bring someone with us that knows how to get there and has permission legally to be there. Yeah, I mean, and let's just kind of put this out there. We don't want anybody to put themselves in danger, and you should never go into
and never go on real train tracks, people.
God, no, that scares me. That really does. Trains scare me. But like, it's fun to go on these little adventures, and we had a lot of people ask us questions about, do we ever get scared when we go and do these things? I mean, we do sometimes, but we are pretty cautious because we are 40-something-year-old women who are just doing this for fun and to entertain you guys. And, at the end of the day, we're just entertaining. And, we're not super sleuths yet, but, we do care about research, and we care about, really being authentic with what we present to you guys. But we don't ever put ourselves in danger, and we don't do anything that it could be construed as illegal.
Yes, definitely. So, yay. Well, is that all you got on
that? Yeah. Oh, no. I got a lot of things.
Okay, what else? You got more?
Well, I just want to push our Scary Heifers show, which I love so much. And before you left on your Florida adventure, we actually did an episode on Jaws, and then you lived Jaws.
Yes. And then I lived it.
Then you lived it.
I was very Chief Brody on the beach all week. I was very like, get out of the water.
Yeah.
To my family a lot. I was just, it was very edgy, I will say. Everybody on the beach was very edgy. It was a very scary situation too. Very serious shark attacks that happened right before we got there, and those people are okay, but their lives are changed forever. So they lost limbs and all sorts of things.
It's awful.
It's crazy how quick it can happen. But shark, I mean, it's just it is their space, but the previous shark attacks had been like 4 years in the past. So to have two serious attacks that just right there, but. Like I said, the Walton County people are very on top of it. So it's, but everybody on the beach, everybody on our beach was like, you could just tell if they were in the water, because it's so hot, you get in the water, to cool off or whatever, and everybody's just looking. Everybody was vigilant.
I was in Florida before the attacks, and I was not. Of course, I have 3 boys, so I was so scared about them being, in the water. But I kept thinking about sharks. So,
well, and most of the time, people are concerned about like the riptide.
Yes. I was more concerned about that. Yes, definitely. Okay,
but this was.
Go ahead.
Oh, no, this was just different. It was like a different worry this time.
Well,
so.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I can't imagine.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next episode,
yeah.
we have 2 really cool episodes coming up about, as far as scary heifers. We have good stuff coming up for Unexplained Arkansas as well. But scary heifers, we have an episode on I Know What You Did Last Summer, and then
Amber's favorite.
My favorite, and then we will have one on Friday the 13th, Lisa's favorite. So we get to talk about those movies.
One of them. Yes.
I want to delve into the Kevin Bacon dying scene. I want to dissect that scene.
Yeah, we could spend hours. But yes, so for one, if you get on our Patreon, you do have to become a member. It's
$1.
As low as $1, or you can do the $1 tier, and that's going to get you entry to listen to our scary heifers. So
$1 for
it's
a couple
worth
of
it.
scary heifers. It's totally worth it. Yeah, but we will
totally
always have Unexplained Arkansas here on our Spotify and all this other stuff. But scary heifers is just extra for those that can't get enough of our crap.
Yeah. Yes. If you just can't get enough.
Yes. If you just can't get enough, we are here for you. We also have merch and T-shirts coming out in a couple of weeks, and that's exciting.
And be patient with us. Yes, be patient with the process, but that is we are so close to the T-shirts.
Very close. So
yes,
yes.
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
And you're excited, and we have so many new big things coming. Like we do have July 25th. We have our meet and greet in Hot Springs. So check out our pages, and we'll be
Black
discussing
Ribbon
that.
Books, and it's in the basement area of the Arlington Hotel. So very neat.
And me and Amber will be staying at the Arlington. We will be at the meet and greet, of course. Obviously, that is the point. So yay! And we know some of our listeners are going to be there, and we're excited.
So come stay at the Arlington.
If you're in this,
and hang with us.
Yes, and if you're in the Central Arkansas area,
then don't. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
But we're weird.
Yeah, that's true. I meant like weird as in like scary weird, not like our kind of eccentric weird. So.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. If you're like a psychopath,
please don't show up. Yes.
There you go. Okay,
so that's it. That's all we have for the Gurdon Light. We have another episode coming up really soon, so stay tuned.
Yes, stay tuned. Be looking for that.
Yep.
So we're headed to Jonesboro tomorrow.
We are, yes. Okay, so that's it. Thank you, guys. Y'all have a great day.
Thank you. Love
ya.
ya.
Bye.